Victoria Carter didn't sleep that night. She sat cross-legged on her bed, Marcus's notebook open in her lap, turning pages like they were written in a language she almost understood. The kitchen sketches, those made sense. Cabinet layouts, countertop measurements, material lists. But then, page after page of something else entirely. Complex structural blueprints, multi-story buildings with annotations about load distribution, engineering calculations that would make a professor pause. She grabbed her phone, typed, "Marcus Thompson, Atlanta contractor." Nothing. A few random LinkedIn profiles, a plumber in Savannah, a pastor in Macon. No one matching the man downstairs with the worn boots and the genius notebook. She tried, "Marcus Thompson, architect, Atlanta." Nothing. Thompson Renovations. A bare-bones website with a phone number and a stock photo of a hammer. No bio, no team page, no photo. It was like he didn't exist. Like someone had carefully, deliberately erased himself. "Who are you, Marcus Thompson?" 7 a.m. on the dot. The navy blue F-150 pulled into the driveway, and Victoria was already at the kitchen window with a coffee she hadn't touched, watching. He stepped out the same way he always did. Slow, steady. Toolbox in one hand, lumber balanced on his shoulder like it weighed nothing. Same worn jeans, same faded flannel, same quiet confidence that made her feel like the whole world was rushing, and he had simply decided not to. But today, she was looking at him differently. Today, she saw the hands that wrote those equations, the mind behind those blueprints, and it didn't add up. He walked in through the side entrance. "Morning." "Morning." She held up the notebook. "You left this." He stopped. Not dramatically, not like a man caught in a lie, more like a man deciding how much truth to offer. His eyes moved from the notebook to her face. He knew. He could see it in her expression. She had looked inside. "Thank you." He took it, slid it into his back pocket, and said nothing else. The silence was louder than any question she could have asked. "Those drawings in there..." "Just old sketches." He was already unpacking his tools. "From college." "That wasn't college work, Marcus." He looked at her. Those deep brown eyes, steady, warm, but guarded. Like a door that was open just a crack, but had 3 deadbolts behind it. "Everybody's got a past, Ms. Carter. Some of us just don't hang it on the wall." He turned back to the half-built island and picked up a chisel. Conversation over. But Victoria Carter didn't get to where she was by accepting closed doors. She just hadn't figured out which key to use, yet. Across town, in a glass-walled office on the 32nd floor of a midtown high-rise, Derek Carter sat behind a mahogany desk that cost more than most people's cars. His lawyer, a sharp woman named Patricia Voss, spread documents across the surface like a general laying out a battle plan. The house is jointly titled. Georgia is an equitable distribution state, not community property. But given the length of the marriage and your financial contributions, we have a strong case for 50%. Derek leaned back. His jaw was still tight from the humiliation of being thrown out of his own house. By his own wife. In front of a carpenter. "I don't want 50%, Patricia. I want her to feel what it's like to lose something." Patricia paused. She'd seen this before. Divorces that stopped being about assets and started being about revenge. They always got expensive, for everyone. "There's something else," Derek said. He pulled out his phone, showed her a photo. Marcus's truck in the driveway. "This contractor she hired. I want to know everything about him. Where he lives, where he came from, what he's hiding." "Derek." "Hire someone, a private investigator, whatever it costs." He straightened his tie. "Nobody walks into my house, looks me in the eye, and gets away with it. Not a handyman, not anyone." Day 9 of the renovation. The kitchen was transforming. Where there had been destruction, raw studs and exposed wiring, there was now the skeleton of something extraordinary. Marcus had framed the new island, and even unfinished, you could see it was different. The proportions were perfect. The joints were seamless. It wasn't construction. It was sculpture. Victoria came downstairs carrying 2 plates. Grilled chicken salad, real silverware. Not coffee this time, a meal. She set one on the makeshift plywood table Marcus used for his tools. "You need to eat." He looked at the plate, then at her. A small smile. "You don't have to feed me, Miss Carter." "Victoria, if you're going to rebuild my kitchen, you can use my first name." He nodded slowly. Victoria. It was the first time he'd said it, and something about the way it sounded in his voice made her look away for half a second. They ate, and for the first time, they actually talked. "So, Marcus Thompson, you have family in Atlanta?" He chewed slowly, deliberately, like he was measuring each word before releasing it. "A daughter, Zoe. She's 7. Victoria's eyes softened. She hadn't expected that. 7. That's a beautiful age." "She draws houses." A real smile now, not the careful, controlled one he showed the world. This one reached his eyes. "Every day, different houses. She says she's going to build the tallest building in Atlanta when she grows up." "Takes after her dad?" The smile dimmed, just slightly, like a cloud passing over the sun. "Her mother. She takes after her mother." Victoria heard it, the past tense. She didn't push. Some doors you don't open until someone hands you the key. "Well," she said softly, "tell Zoe she's welcome to come see the kitchen when it's done. She can critique your work." He laughed, quiet, genuine, surprised, like he'd forgotten he knew how. "She'd tear it apart. She's tough." "Good. The world needs tough women." Their eyes met. 3 seconds, maybe 4. The same electric silence from that first walkthrough, only deeper now, warmer. He stood up. "I should get back to the island." "Marcus." He turned. "Thank you. For the kitchen. For—" She didn't finish the sentence. She didn't need to. He nodded. Same time tomorrow. At 6 p.m., Marcus Thompson walked out of Victoria Carter's mansion and drove to the Thompson Holdings building on Peachtree Street. He didn't go home to change. He walked into the executive elevator in his flannel and work boots, sawdust still on his forearms. The boardroom was floor-to-ceiling glass, 12 chairs, 9 occupied. Every person at that table wore a suit that cost more than Marcus's truck, and every single one of them stood up when he walked in. Marcus, James, his partner, his best friend, the only person who understood, gave him a look that said, "Really? Sawdust?" Marcus sat at the head of the table, didn't apologize, didn't explain. The Meridian acquisition. Where are we? A woman in a navy suit, CFO Rachel Kim, slid a document toward him. 82 million. Sellers accepted our terms. We close in 30 days, pending your approval. Marcus scanned the pages. His eyes moved the same way they did when he read wood grain. Quick, precise, seeing things others missed. The environmental assessment on the Decatur parcel. Page 14. Those numbers don't match the county records. The room went silent. Rachel blinked, flipped to page 14. Her face changed. I will have to re-verify with the... Do it before we close, not after. He slid the document back. What else? James leaned in. The Forbes piece. They're not letting it go. They want the Hidden Titans of Atlanta Real Estate feature. And your name keeps coming up. I said no. Marcus, Thompson Holdings did $240 million in revenue last year. You own 14 commercial properties, 3 residential developments, and the largest black-owned construction consultancy in the Southeast. You can't stay invisible forever. Marcus looked out the window. The Atlanta skyline glittered below. And somewhere out there, in Buckhead, was a half-built kitchen. And a woman who was starting to ask questions he wasn't ready to answer. I'm not invisible, James. I'm just building something else right now. James stared at him, opened his mouth, closed it, shook his head. You're building a kitchen, Marcus. A kitchen, while an $82 million deal sits on your desk. The deal can wait. The kitchen can't. Are we done? The board members exchanged glances. Nobody argued with Marcus Thompson. Not twice. That night, FaceTime. Nina's face filling Victoria's laptop screen, a glass of red wine in hand, her eyes wide as dinner plates. A notebook full of architectural genius, and he said it was just old college sketches. That's what he said. Victoria, baby, listen to me. Nina set down her wine, which meant this was serious. Nina never put down wine for anything less than a 5-alarm emergency. I did some digging. Victoria sat up. You did what? Don't give me that look. You told me about the notebook, and I'm a researcher. It's what I do. I couldn't help myself. She pulled up something on her phone. Georgia Tech, class of 2009. There was a Marcus Thompson in the architecture program, not just in it. He was the valedictorian. Published a thesis on sustainable urban housing that got cited in 3 international journals. He was called a generational talent. And then? And then, nothing. He vanishes. No LinkedIn, no firm, no publications, no awards, no trace. It's like he walked off the stage at graduation and disappeared into thin air. Victoria's heart was beating faster than she wanted to admit. Maybe it's not the same person. Girl, how many Marcus Thompsons are there in Atlanta who can draw structural engineering blueprints from memory and build a kitchen island that looks like it belongs in a museum? It's him. And whatever happened between Georgia Tech and your kitchen, that's the story. Victoria stared at the screen. Nina stared back. What do I do? You do nothing. You let this man finish your kitchen. You drink coffee with him. You let him tell you when he's ready. Nina picked up her wine again. And in the meantime, I keep digging. Nina. Good night, Victoria. Thursday, 2:47 p.m. Victoria was in her upstairs office on a conference call when she heard something unusual. A car door. Not Marcus's truck. Something heavier. She looked out the window. A black Cadillac Escalade. Brand new. Tinted windows. A man stepped out. Tall, early 40s, impeccably dressed. Three-piece suit. Cufflinks that caught the afternoon sun. He walked straight to Marcus's truck. Marcus came out of the house. And the thing that stopped Victoria's breath was the way he walked. Different. Straighter. Like someone had flipped a switch from Carpenter to something else entirely. The two men talked by the truck. The man in the suit, James, though Victoria didn't know his name yet, handed Marcus a leather portfolio. Marcus opened it, signed something, handed it back. It was the signature that got her. Confident. Practiced. The kind of signature a person develops from signing documents that matter. Not invoices and work orders. Contracts. Acquisitions. Things with weight. James said something. Marcus shook his head. James put a hand on his shoulder, the gesture of an old friend, not a colleague, and walked back to the Escalade. Marcus stood there for a moment, looking at the portfolio. Then he tucked it into his truck, rolled his sleeves back down, and walked back inside. Victoria was waiting in the kitchen. "Who was that?" "Just a friend." He picked up the chisel, didn't look at her. "A friend who drives a $100,000 car and wears Tom Ford?" Marcus set down the chisel, turned to face her. And for a moment, just a flash, she saw something behind his eyes. Not deception, not guilt. Something more like exhaustion. The tiredness of a man carrying a weight he chose but never asked for. "Victoria, I promise you, I'm exactly who I said I am. A contractor, here to build your kitchen. Some things in my life are complicated, but none of them affect the work I'm doing for you." She wanted to push. Every instinct she had. The lawyer's daughter, the CEO's ex-wife, the woman who'd learned the hard way what secrets cost, screamed at her to push. But she looked at his face, and she saw something Derek never had. Honesty, even in the things he wasn't saying. Okay, Marcus." Friday evening, Derek's home office. A plain manila envelope on the desk, the PI's report. He tore it open, read it twice. Marcus Anthony Thompson, age 38, licensed general contractor, state of Georgia. Clean record, no liens, no lawsuits. Business registered 2016, Thompson Renovations. Annual revenue, Derek squinted. $62,000? He almost laughed. 62,000. That was less than Derek spent on watches last year. Previous address, apartment in East Atlanta. Current address. He frowned. The current address field was blank. What the hell? He called the PI. "Your report is incomplete. There's no current address." "That's because I couldn't find one, Mr. Carter. The apartment lease ended 8 months ago. No new lease, no mortgage. No property records under his name in Fulton County. The man is essentially a ghost. Derek hung up, sat in the dark. A ghost. A $62,000 a year ghost who looked him in the eye and didn't blink. Something wasn't right, and Derek Carter was going to find out what. But first, he had something else to deliver. He picked up his phone. "Patricia, file the papers. I want Victoria served by Monday." Monday morning, Victoria opened her front door to find a process server. Not Marcus. Not the mailman. A stranger in a cheap suit with an envelope that changed everything. She read the documents standing in the foyer. Her hands didn't shake. Her voice didn't crack. But her eyes went cold. Derek was suing for 50% of the house, 50% of the renovation, and he was requesting an injunction to halt all construction until the asset dispute was resolved. He wasn't just trying to take the house. He was trying to stop her from erasing him. Marcus was in the kitchen when she walked in. He saw her face and put down his tools. "What happened?" She handed him the papers, didn't speak, just let him read. He read them slowly. His jaw tightened, the first real crack in his composure she'd ever seen. "He's trying to stop the renovation. He's trying to stop me." Her voice was ice. But underneath it, underneath all that armor, Marcus heard something breaking. "Victoria, I'm fine." "You're not fine." She looked at him, and for one unguarded second, the mask dropped. She wasn't the CEO's ex-wife. She wasn't the woman in the cream blazer with perfect hair. She was just someone who'd been hurt, deeply, repeatedly, by a man she'd trusted with her whole life. "How do you keep doing it?" she whispered. "How do you keep building things when everything around you keeps falling apart?" Marcus was quiet for a long time. "Because that's what builders do. The wood doesn't care about your problems. The measurements don't change because you're having a bad day. You cut the board. You sand the edge. You make it fit." He looked at her. "And eventually, the thing you're building starts to look like the thing you imagined. And for a little while, the world makes sense again." She wiped her eyes, just once, quick, like she was angry at the tears for existing. "Don't stop the renovation, Marcus. No matter what those papers say. Don't stop." "I wasn't planning to." That evening, the penthouse. Marcus walked through the door and heard the sound that fixed everything. Small feet running on hard wood. "Daddy!" Zoe hit him at full speed. 7 years old, braids with pink beads, a gap-toothed grin that could end wars. She was wearing an oversized Georgia Tech t-shirt as a nightgown, his old shirt, and she was holding a piece of paper like it was the most important document in the world. "Look what I drew! Look, look, look!" Marcus scooped her up, kissed her forehead, sat on the couch with her in his lap. The piece of paper was a crayon drawing, Zoe's signature style. A house, big windows, a garden, and 2 people standing in front of it. "Who's this?" He pointed to the taller figure, brown crayon, square shoulders. "That's you, Daddy, obviously." "Obviously." He smiled, pointed to the second figure, curly black hair, a yellow dress. "And who's this?" Zoe shrugged, very casual. too casual.
That's the lady.
What lady?
The lady whose kitchen you're building. You talk about her. A lot.
Marcus blinked. I do not talk about her a lot.
Daddy, you said her name 4 times at dinner on Tuesday. I counted.
He looked at the drawing, at this little girl who saw everything, who heard every word, counted every mention, drew every feeling he thought he'd hidden. Elena's eyes, Elena's smile, Elena's terrifying ability to see straight through him. He held the drawing carefully, like it was the notebook, like it was a blueprint for something he wasn't sure he was ready to build. It's beautiful, baby girl. Put it on the fridge.
Already made a spot.
She hopped off his lap and ran to the kitchen. Marcus sat there, holding nothing now, looking out at the Atlanta skyline through those floor-to-ceiling windows. Somewhere in Buckhead, Victoria was fighting for her home. Derek was circling like a shark, and his own secret was cracking at the edges, one conversation at a time. He pulled out his phone, dialed James. The injunction. Derek Carter filed to halt construction on Victoria's kitchen. James sighed.
Marcus, this isn't your...
Can our legal team look into it? Quietly, no names. A long pause.
You're asking me to use Thompson Holdings lawyers, a $240 million company's legal department, to protect a kitchen renovation?
I'm asking you to help someone who needs it. I'll make the call. Thank you, James.
Marcus?
Yeah?
You're in deep. You know that, right?
Marcus looked at Zoe's drawing, now held by a magnet on the stainless steel refrigerator. The lady with curly hair, the man with square shoulders, a house between them. Yeah, I know. To be continued.